Yo, 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 what it do? Welcome to a fresh episode of Talkin Game with your boy, Tony Lewis. Some know me as Anthony. Some know me as LT. Some know me as Yellow Tape King. Some know me as King. It really depends on what I was on when you first met me. But here we are today, and we breaking down these sports, baby. I want to start off today talking Aaron Judge. Just hit his 54th home run yesterday now. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, doing these kind of late night, early morning. But hit his 54th home run. He's on pace for 65 right now, which will be the American League record. And, you know, all baseball purists look at that as the actual home run record, right? We understand what Barry Bonds did in 2001, but no one really looks at that as the official record. We kind of know what steroids did for baseball. It made it exciting, but it kind of ruined the records because all of those have an asterisk on it, right? You got to just keep it real. But here we are. Also, the Yankees are only 5 games up, right? 28 games to play. They have 3 more against Tampa. That's why that win Sunday night was pretty big. And then us having the Twins for a 4-game set is pretty big because anybody who follows the Yankees or has been following the Yankees know we got the ownership papers on Minnesota, right? So hopefully this is our little bit of medicine before we got to play 3 more games with the Rays and pretty much decide the American League East after this weekend by the end of the week, right? So it's crazy that it's came to this. The Yankees were up 15 and a half games. So to only be up 5 games and actually be in a race, right? It wasn't even a race. It was more so of a coast to the finish line thing. And now to actually be in a race for the American League East is kind of crazy. But I'm not mad as a fan. My cousin asked me if I was going to be going for the Red Sox this week. Hopefully the Rays can drop back even further for the Yankees. And I said no. I personally want to see the Yankees play with their back to the wall, play with some pressure, like really have to see what they made of before the playoffs, because right now it don't look like they made of shit. You know what I'm saying? They seem like some front runners, so let's see what happens. Our offense has been struggling. Aaron Judge accounted for all 3 of the runs in our 3-game set with the Rays, where they lost 2 out of 3. Shout out to Aaron Judge, though, giving us home runs and basically back-to-back innings, giving the Yankees a home run in the 9th inning of Game 2 of the series, and then coming back and leading off with a home run in the first inning of Game 3 of the series. So that was pretty cool for him. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets these. I mean, dang, it's only 8 more now, right? If he falls short, it is literally cursed, I believe, right? I mean, it's for him to fall short and not get 8 more home runs in 28 games. If that doesn't happen, we really got to start looking into baseball curses. But I don't think that's going to happen. I believe he's going to get there. I think he's going to end up around 63, 64. So that's my prediction. I'm going to go nice round number. We like round numbers around here. So I'm going to say 64. And then the Yankees got to be ready to back up the Brinks truck, because he's going to demand a lot of money, and kind of deservingly so, right? Just real quick, touching on some other races in baseball, because most of them are 10 games or more. I believe the Astros are 10 games up on, I don't even know who's second. Oh, the Mariners in the West. The Dodgers are up like 19 games on the Padres. Yeah, so it's pretty much etched in stone, the division winners. You know, it's more so the wild card trying to figure it out. But 2 very close races are the NL East, which is only 1 game apart, and the Mets and the Braves have a 3-game set left. My cousin has a saying the Mets will met it, and I thought, you know, I believe last month they had it just seemed like the Braves weren't going to catch the Mets, and it seemed like whenever they had a series, the Mets would do just enough to keep the Braves at bay. But don't look like that's happening now. The young Guns in Atlanta, they are starting to round into form, and it's right on time, right, for the playoffs. This is when you want to be playing your best baseball. That is my hope for the Yankees. Let's just have a good 3 weeks, and I feel better about the playoffs, right? And then another very tight series, even tighter than one game apart, is the AL Central. They're only a half game apart between Minnesota and Cleveland, and they have 6 games left. So that's something to really watch if you're just looking for some competitive baseball that has high stakes, right? Because I don't think the loser of that division, the second place team of that division, will make the wild card. So that is going to be important for both of those teams in all 6 games, seeing who wants to make it to the playoffs. Me personally, I'm always going to want the Twins to make the playoffs, and hopefully they get matched up with the Yankees because, like I said, we got ownership papers on the Twins. Cleveland, they always field a good team, right? I can only probably name, I'm going to be honest, I can only name Jose Ramirez on the Guardians. But somehow, some way, Terry Francona is going to field a good team every year. And they're going to compete. And it shows in a year like this where you would think they would be rebuilding. And they are competing to win their division, right? All right, so real quick, now that I've gone through my baseball spiel, still baseball season, guys. Let's pay attention. I want to talk about a couple of things in the NBA. I'll skip what I was going to do first and get into something more current, of course. The Cavaliers get Donovan Mitchell. I talked to different people. There's mixed reviews on this. Me, personally, I realize that the NBA is all about just getting the best collection of talent that you can get, right? And if you think about it, the Cavaliers thought just beginning of last year, it was going to be Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, right? Colin Sexton gets hurt. You got Ricky Rubio. You're just trying to piece it together to figure out who's going to be your point guard, your 2 guard, because Darius Garland can play either position. And you do okay, right? You get an all-star to Darius Garland. You find out that he's the one for you. Jared Allen makes the all-star game. You guys are in the play-in. Really kind of fell apart once Jared Allen got hurt. That lets you know the importance of him. And Evan Mobley getting hurt. That lets you know the importance of both of them. And I think that really was a revelation for the Cavaliers. You want to upgrade, and they did. You ask anybody who watches any basketball, Donovan Mitchell is a upgrade from Colin Sexton, and that's what the Cavaliers wanted to do. Is it worth it? It depends. I feel like different organizations have different expectations, right? Cleveland has 1 championship in their 50 whatever years of a franchise, right? It's not like the Lakers where it's like, all we know is championships. Sometimes you want to field the best team possible, and I think that's kind of what Cleveland was on. I do believe Cleveland was trying to hold some kind of cap space, hoping that LeBron would come back to this young core, for one last hurrah. But that's not going to happen. Obviously not now for sure. I like what Cleveland did because it didn't seem like they gave up too much. Larry Marketing was playing out of position, if you ask me. They clearly didn't want to bring back Colin Sexton. All those picks, what are the values of picks in the NBA anymore? I'm starting to feel like they're being very devalued. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to do something to make teams want to keep their draft, because after next year, it's probably only going to be probably the Pelicans, the Thunder, and Utah picking in the draft. So that's going to be crazy. I think for Utah, this will open up more trades for them to get even more picks and get younger so they can really tank for Wembanyama, Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, Bogdanovich. I do, as a Lakers fan, I do feel like if they cannot pull the trigger and get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner to look at Utah and see if, okay, maybe you can pivot and get Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley, right? Their money is, they might have to put in Bogdanovich, to match the money for a Russell Westbrook, and that lets you know how much money he's getting. But yeah, I do think Utah is still open for business. I can see them getting even more picks over the next few years and really unloading some more of their veterans because they're obviously in rebuild mode. Danny Ainge believes in building through the draft and using assets, and he doesn't take bad deals. So Utah, I know it's going to seem like a long time, but I think they're going to be in good hands. Real quick, the last little tidbit, I did skip over this because I wanted to be current, but now I'm going to go back to the past. And I do want to speak on this because I feel like there's a lot of confusion, and something made me do some random research one day. And I want to talk about Isiah Thomas and this idea that he should have been on the Dream Team. That is bull. Total BS. And I'm noticing that I'm going back, if you listen to prior episodes, I like going back to compare things in the past because it seems like things can get very confused. Things can get muddled up. And in sports, history really heals a lot of wounds. History makes a lot of stuff, and the passing of time makes a lot of stuff seems different than what it really was. But this notion that Isiah Thomas should have been on the 1992 Dream Team is not true. It's not true. Isiah Thomas, the last time he was all NBA was 1986, 1987. So that was a full 5 years prior to being on the Dream Team. Sorry about that pause. Sorry. So even if you're saying, okay, well, leading up to it, you got to pick the teams a couple years before, right? Well, damn, not 5 years before. And even in 1989, when the All-NBA list expanded to 3 teams, he didn't make it. He didn't, which is crazy. All this, Jordan kept me off. He didn't like me. We froze him out in the All-Star game, and that's the reason why. No, you weren't one of the 4 best guards in basketball, man. Come on now. And not to mention, Joe Dumars was making more All-NBA teams than you. Okay, he has 2 between 87 and 92. Other players that were making All-NBA teams. We got Kevin Johnson, Tim Hardaway, Mark Price. Right? I'm not even naming people that were on the Dream Team. These are people that didn't even make the Dream Team. That were all NBA. And you weren't, Isiah. So I'm trying to figure out where this notion that he should have been on this team came from. Is that just, people reliving the 80s and saying, Isiah Thomas was that guy. The best small point guard ever. You know what I'm saying? The guy who beat the Lakers. The guy who beat the Celtics in the 80s. We're talking about the 92 Dream Team. And looking at what I'm looking at, he shouldn't have made it. Maybe Kevin Johnson. Maybe Tim Hardaway. John Stockton made it. He kept making All-NBA. Michael Jordan made it. He kept making All-NBA. Magic Johnson was even making All-NBA, and that was becoming the later stages of his career. Now, if you want to say he should have been there as an honorary teammate, kind of like Larry Bird was when he was on his way out, then we can have that conversation. But there's no way you can tell me in 1992 that Isiah Thomas was one of the 4 best guards in the NBA. He might have been one of the 4 most popular guards in the NBA. You can say that even with Isiah Thomas, they would have still won because they were just that good. And he, being one of the faces of the NBA, should have went. But, no. Don't say just off skill alone. All right? That's my time for today. I do appreciate y'all spending at least 15 minutes with your boy around here talking game. I have another episode coming up this week. Let me do some notes. We'll talk some football. I'll give y'all my division winners. And I'm going to give y'all some Super Bowl picks. Peace.